With context keyboard button engaged, you'll see the keyboard on screen at all times. The blue keys show you the playable range of the guitar. To the left of the playable range, you'll find the articulation key switches. To the right, you'll find the strum, pick, and stop keys. Let's look at each of these individually. The three most important key switches for performance are the poly, solo, and legato key switches. Polyphonic mode is the default. It lets you play as many notes at once as you want, permitting that they're physically possible on the fretboard. You can activate poly mode by hitting F#0. Solo mode, which is triggered by G#0, only allows you to play one note at a time. This is useful for soloing. And legato mode, which is triggered by A#0, also only allows one note at a time, but it connects each note via finger legato. Again, here's a direct comparison between solo and legato. And there's one more mode you can get to too. If you hit A#0 quietly, you'll get legato but muted. There's quite a selection of other key switches available in Electricity. Let me show you some of them. Let's start at the very bottom of the keyboard and use a forced articulation. What that means is you have to hold down the articulation key switch for as long as you want it to trigger. If I hold down A#0 and play a note, I'm going to get tremolo. C#0 and D#0 allow me to trill a half step and a whole step respectively. And if you'd like to adjust the speed of the tremolo or the trills, that can be done on the Settings tab in the Playing page. Back to the key switches. The effects key switch is F0, and by holding that down, every note turns into a random guitar effect. The G0 key switch triggers ghost notes. The A0 key switch allows you to slide between notes. There are also some velocity-sensitive key switches. If you hit B-1 lightly, you'll trigger the half mute, and if you hit it hard, you'll trigger the sustain. If you trigger C0 lightly, you'll get a morph between muted and half muted. If you hit it hard, you'll get a morph between muted and sustain, depending on how hard you play the keys. Here's muted to half muted. And here's muted to sustain. There's also a whole set of release key switches. These are accessed by holding down the A-1 key, the very lowest key of an 88-key keyboard, and then holding down one of several different kinds of release triggers simultaneously, depending on what effect you want. For example, if you hold down A-1 and G0, you get release slide down long. You can easily add a release articulation to any note that you want to do something special at the end of. If all of this is too complicated for you and you just want to start afresh with a very basic setting, I recommend you hit C0 hard to trigger the muted to sustain articulation and F#0 to put yourself in poly mode. Then the guitar is basically ready to play in an all-purpose setting. It's also very easy to play octave bends when you're in poly mode. You don't even need a key switch for it. Just play a minor second or a major second and use the pitch bend wheel to bend one pitch to the other. Electricity's performance page always shows you what key is being pressed at any given time, so you know what you're playing. If you want a comprehensive list of all the articulations included in Electricity, take a look at the last pages of the manual. Thanks for watching. For more information, check out our website at virtu.com.